the source, the genesis of the Kibera movement. 3A. Are you able to even explain what he's saying?
He's talking about that. They will use that thing to... I'm not able to explain. Because it has been done by so many men, and now they are ready as members of parliament, him being the leader, to do that to me. And he has recruited so many young men for the purpose of that Kibera movement, together with the Deputy Speaker of this House.
Can we watch KMV 12?
Tumetoseka kutawaliwa vibaya na mkora asiosiwa, anafaa kuongezwa kakoto kwa tumbo na simiti na mawe ndio asisikie njaa tena. Wangapi wanasema Kawira aende? Kawira mbae, lakini tunataka kiti ya mtuma apewe, kiti yake, deputy yake, magari rudishwe, security apewe, kila kitu apewe, na kiti ya finance, kiti ya pesa apewe. Kwa ndondela la Kibera. Ndio kuna mkomeno wa arome anga Kibera. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaunga mkono hilo mjadala umeletwa na Mheshimiwa Mporo, na asante kwa kunialika. Tuendelee namna hiyo. Kazi yetu ni kushikanisha kila mtu. Asanteni sana ndugu zangu. Thank you very much.
Madam Governor, I hope you are able to explain again, or perhaps the message has sunk, what these honorable members are telling members of the public.
The honorable members of parliament and the deputy speaker of this honorable house is telling the public that I defeated men, and in this case, they are going to use that steering stick and they recruited so many young men for that purpose, and they have been holding rallies almost in all towns in Meru, doing the same over the weekends. Honorable Speaker, I want to say this is purely politics. Purely politics.
Thank you. There is another video, I think that will be my last, 3C on the gender profiling and harassment. 3C. 3C.
Mukoku ingwendo kuona uliki na South America enda ugekana kamurega lakini wewe kamurega tena kana Tuko na boloi angwendo mwe Kawira Mwangaza utendo ereo ukavatia mwana mwene ukidata tuko na boloi tuenda kuwa kenda tutike murega baitu imugoro ku ya mwana nwe ya pronto abori agera mono mbele na kayuyu agwa baile agwa bata tenjamba loi kantenjamba kana ko mtoto la obora masiara ndi kuereka na nchoke mbele na keberio wewe keda kala hekeda Kawira udire hekeda Kawira kukwekeda na alemera rume Kawira hangwa niyo yekeda hangwa ndenda kenda menya wewe mwekuru wale mwekuru muchoro kwa etawa mwenda na mulingire teke urenga wayo kiamdaka endukisha ndaka siakwa no mwekuru mukuru.
Thank you. The honorable member is making certain remarks about your husband. What is he saying?
He's saying that he has given me 9 months to be pregnant. And if that is not done, he will do it via what is holding.
Eventually, Honorable Governor, your deputy joined the movement and made similar attacks on you and on your collab program. Can we watch KMV4?
Kweta Tharaka County tobatethie kweta Embu County tobatethie kweta Isiolo County tobatethie ukorea kirundu kia thina kia pubate kia kuewa itokwenda kia tukweana hapo sana didi wewe ndio governor na program Kerundu keke pumbate program wetu wakolea matwe murungu wake tuetera tutetera muntu no kerundu ke anto bembe beku atote ukienda beku erwa kerundu ke wikireti makire bagwa tokolea kabisa yo madina yaba ya
We can stop there. Thank you. Honorable Governor, that is your deputy governor.
Yes.
He's making certain remarks about the Okolea program.
Yes.
What is he saying?
He's saying that the Okolea program is a poverty program. They have refused it in their area. The area
Which area is that?
That is Igembe South, where he comes from.
So he's telling members of his ward to reject the
poverty program, that is Okorea, and they should not be ready to receive anything in terms of Okorea. Honorable Speaker, to add to this, for the last 12 years, I've been doing the Okorea, and this gave me favor before God. And my deputy governor, who was just a prison askari, God gave us favor because of this program. And out of the program that raised him for being askari to His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Meru, is the same person that is seen on video, the campaigning or demeaning the same program that God used to give us favor before men and women.
And he continues. And he continued, and we watch KMV 15. 15. That video was played yesterday, but for your sake, can you explain what the youths are chanting, led by your deputy governor?
That is my deputy governor with some youths from his area saying that Kawira doesn't have a home. She only does prostitution in the county. And they are praising him and warming him up to be the governor or take over the position of the governor of Meru. And that is exactly what has been happening to our members of parliament, including the senator or deputy senator of this house. They have started warming him up to be the governor and take charge because I'm just a woman before them.
Thank you. It got worse by slaughtering of a cow that you had donated. Can we watch KMV 16? Confirm whether that's the same cow you had donated and to whom had you donated the cow. we can stop there. Thank you. Thank you. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I see like the cow is still alive as it's being slaughtered.
Yes.
Was that the cow you had donated?
Yeah, we were in the area of the Igembe South, and then we identified the old woman who was to be given the cow as it was entering into the field. Then they took the cow, slaughtered it just before us.
And they are singing the same song, but they're also making other remarks. What are the other remarks?
Before I say about the other remarks, is that hiyo ng'ombe ilikuwa imebeba ndama ya miezi 6. And then they are saying that the same way they have slaughtered or killed the cow is the same way they will do to Kawira Mwangaza.
Thank you. We can have the video removed from the screen. That has not also been the only thing. You have also been accused of not being a proper Meru. Are you aware of that fact? What? That you have been accused of not being a proper original Meru, therefore unfit to lead?
Yes, they have been accusing me of not being a Merian, but a Kikuyu.
Thank you. Let's first watch KMV 5. You will make those explanations.
Ina ideka wa Mwangaza aita wajiona kuna vya zaidi ina aita Mugure hello Kawira ndo Kawira umme wa Meru bato tuapa imweko tuapa imwa tuome umiete hebu tuapa Meru ni sokere ya ume mwana wao au tupita kabilao.
What is the Honorable Member of Parliament saying in respect to your ethnicity?
He says that the father of Kawira Mwangaza is a Kikuyu from Kirithaini by the name Joguna, and the mother is Mugure from Kikuyu, and they don't want to be ruled by a Kikuyu in Meru. That's why they want to change to get a real Merian, who is Peter Gatirau Munya, the first governor.
Thank you, Madam Kawira. Is it then your evidence before this Senate that pressure has been asserted on members of County Assembly to ensure your removal from office on charges that do not hold any water?
Pressure has been mounted to members of County Assembly of Meru by the same leaders, as we have seen, and they had no option apart from adopting an impeachment motion where they were forced to sign and impeach.
Can we watch KMV 11 on the nature of that threat and whether the MCAs indeed succumbed to the pressure?
Na bunduki yao inachochi ando icha kuromba. Baadhi minatu ibia meni ulat ugatwira mbazi ni kiraitu. Na ndiro uruli ndo akiraitu na bunduki sia wako warombe teri. Ukawa soka bunduki ndo ya bunduki. Dole ntoleka umogira bunduki sia sia yundi. Bange ba ibia meni no menya ataduri yake ama. Ukilo ujando no menya bunduki lawe na sisi ya kuromba bati kwa very careful. Wakara.
Is that the same Saul turned Paul?
His own Kiraito has taken his own, so I'm left without any weapon to fight, and I should be very careful because they have withdrawn their support as the leaders of political parties or as the senior most people in their parties.
That is barely 3 weeks after DMK Kawira had been seen dancing, praising you, and saying that he will defend you and will reject any influence from above.
It was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Let us watch then 3E.
Ilo tokuwa watu ilo tutuike amake UDA no tudugani ku withdraw support tukwete mwanga kwa majority rinda to withdraw as nini mando jondo tukulidere tikire ku support kira assembly tuike ama no to withdraw membership betu na bati ku support kaire.
Thank you. Who is the person speaking in that video and what is he saying?
Is the Honorable Senator, Deputy Speaker of this Honorable House, and he's saying that he might withdraw or is ending to withdrawing support of UDA members from being part and parcel of my agenda of development in Meru County.
Was that threat to withdraw made a reality?
Indeed, after I spoke that, after 3-4 days, it was made a reality.
Let us watch KMV9 on whether that support was actually withdrawn. KMV9.
Must prevail. Number 9, we officially withdrew our support from the governor due to recent events and our proven inability to lead effectively. Our deaf honorable members are instructed not to in any way associate with the governor in person, Honorable Bishop Kawira Mwangaza. Number 10, we express support for the impeachment of Governor Kawira Mwangaza for the best interest of the people of Meru County and commit ourselves without reservation to this cause, which we commence forthwith. Number 11, we support CS Honorable Medical and Tourist political leadership and endorse the proposal to make him the county's spokesperson for a unified voice of Meru County. Number 12, we applaud the newfound unity among political leaders except Governor Kawira Mwangaza for the sake of peace and development.
Thank you. KMV8, I think that is self-explanatory. KMV8. KMV8.
I've been given instructions by our SG, who is Honorable Kanini Kega, that as Jubilee, forthwith, I'm going forward with Jubilee withdraws its support to one Honorable Kawira Mwangaza.
Kabla December tutakuwa na gavana mwingine mpya, kwa sababu hii ni kitu tulianza kitambo na tulianzia hapa hapa. Kwa hivyo tuna vita na wewe gavana kwa ajili ya kuonana. Tulikuwa
Those are members of County Assembly, and with them is one member of National Assembly. I think he has spoken in Swahili and English. There is no need to emphasize. Was there a press conference formally by other parties to withdraw their support? And I'm looking at KMV10, and I think that is my last video on this issue of withdrawal. KMV10.
In this county, we have decided forthwith to withdraw the support within and outside the assembly that we had given our governor. Number 3, we have resolved to start a fresh impeachment motion to the governor of Meru, one Honorable Bishop Kawira Mwangaza, and we have already signed, appended our signatures, the 27 of us who form or comprise the Kenya Kwanza caucus in the county assembly in preparation for a fresh impeachment motion.
Thank you.
The one that came last year.
We can stop there. Thank you. Madam Governor, you have seen series of press conferences by various leaders of county assembly, all seeking to withdraw their support. Were the timings of these press conferences within the same period of time?
It was within the same period of time.
Can you remember the month?
I think it's not more than 2 months ago.
That is the month of September?
Yes.
What do you attribute towards the sudden change of heart from you being their darling, being a performer, being their mother, to now castigating you in the manner they are doing, to the extent of them withdrawing support? Is there anything gross you did to provoke them, to the best of your knowledge?
I did totally nothing. And from the last clip, can hear the move of the motion saying that around 27 of them have already signed an impeachment that they are proposing to have. So they signed way back even before. That is what he has said. Number two, the pressure from members of national government, some few elites, leaders, some few leaders of political parties, the deputy speaker of this honorable house, before God, I want to say they are misleading our MCS.
Thank you. Governor, it got to the extent that even in the performance of your official duties, you are threatened and barred from performing that which you are allowed to do under the Constitution. Is that true?
Yes.
Can we watch KMV6 and tell us where you are, what you're doing, and what happened? You can pause there for a minute. We see you clearly there, Honorable Governor, and there is a young gentleman speaking. Tell us what he's saying and what you are doing in that event and exactly where you are.
That is an event done by the county government of Meru. The county assembly passed a budget for us to take care of the disadvantaged mamas in our community, and that program is dubbed as 1 cow per 1 poor family. We go around the villages, we have a committee to vet and see the most vulnerable person in that certain area. We take a cow to the area and give or donate as government to that particular person that has been vetted by a committee that includes the area chief.
Thank you. So this is not part of your Korea program, for clarity purposes.
This is not part of my Korea program. My Korea program we usually do on Sunday afternoon, and this is an official duty, a program that has county government employees and done purely by the county government of Meru. 1 cow per 1 poor family.
Was there any commotion or violence in that event?
There was no commotions. We started with the prayers, as you can see, and we went silently, we did not even advertise. Those are just the neighbors that saw what is happening and came just to see.
You confirm this was in the homestead of one of the poor Meru women?
It is in the homestead of the beneficiary.
Thank you. Can we watch that clip again from the beginning all through to the end?
Gavana, Zargani, natoka na wewe? Kuja tuongee. Ngoja tu tuongee.
Kiangalia hapa hizi.
Tuende pole pole. Wewe watu watoke. Unapata dakika 10 tu peke yake hapa. Watu watoka waende. Mtoke muende. Mtoke muende. Hapa tunataka kwanza vita. Mtoke muende.
Huyu ananibebea nini?
So madam, what there is?
Amenibebea nini?
Ile iko.
That is the question.
Nimeongea na yeye.
So, Madam Governor, this is an official function of the head of the county. Why are the police disrupting your function?
The same leaders. It doesn't specifically mention the leader that understands him, but now the influence from the national leaders led to this.
So were you able to complete your donation on that day?
I was not able to complete because it was stopped. And then when they said that we leave, we tried to explain. After 3 good hours in that vehicle, when people came, surrounded the vehicles, that is the time the officer said that it was a mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity. But isn't the officer calling you by your title when he comes?
Yes, he's calling me Governor Kuja. Governor Kuja.
You actually pleaded with him to allow you to finish.
Ngoja nimaliza, akasema pana, we have 10 minutes here, Kuja.
And everyone was dispersed.
Everyone was dispersed.
That was, if I'm not wrong, a day or two before the impeachment. Can you remember the actual date?
I think a day before impeachment.
A day before impeachment.
And that clip is not complete, counsel.
Yes.
I think we've not heard the officer saying as to why he had come to arrest me.
You can tell us because you are present. We may not have the benefit of the full video, but kindly, because it is a first-hand experience, tell us the explanation you got from the officer as to why he was seeking to interrupt your official function.
The officer was the area OCS, and then when people came in big numbers, the other bosses came around, and then he was asked to allow me go, and then he also apologized before everyone that it was a mistaken identity, and I forgive him.
Thank you. You have been accused of vilifying leaders. We have seen WhatsApp messages, you making certain utterances on WhatsApp groups, and even in 1 or 2 political rallies, through the videos that were produced. Number one, have you vilified the leaders in Meru? Have you in any way vilified, demeaned the leaders in Meru?
I have not verified any leader in Meru.
There was a particular comment you made on Facebook, on WhatsApp group, regarding the deputy governor. And you said, "U ujinga sita kubali." What were you talking about?
I was talking about him having or gathering young men going around demeaning the governor and calling me a prostitute.
Was that a fair reaction, considering what we have seen? Was it expected of any human being to react and defend herself in the wake of such attacks?
Honorable Speaker, I'm not an angel. You must have feelings.
Thank you. Let us go briefly to the responses, and I believe you have answered to all the allegations in your notice, in your response that you first alluded to. You have answered, confirm that you have answered.
Yes, I have answered.
Satisfactorily to all the charges.
I have answered.
I want us to look at the first count, misappropriation and misuse of county resources. You came here and you also invited at the county assembly to answer to specific allegations, correct?
Yes.
Those specific allegations in respect to embezzlement and misuse of funds are found at 10A and B. Confirm?
Yes.
Embezzlement is A, withdrawal of county funds is B.
Yes.
Those were the only particulars of the allegations that you are invited to respond to.
These are the only particulars.
So then you could not have responded to anything outside what was framed.
I responded to the particulars or the charges.
Let me read to you. Embezzlement of county funds through the governor's sisters, Rose Kinya, Miriam Gwantai, Kenneth Gwantai, Nefat Kenywa, Edwin Murangedi. We will not go into whether they are your relatives or not, because we did that in another forum. Was there any table of particulars to indicate how much money Rose Kinya received, when they received them, how they have not accounted in A and B, because that is the only place where we see the particulars? Do you see any particular place where you are told Rose received this much, Miriam received this much, Nefat received this much, Kenneth received this much, Edwin received this much? Do you see that in the particulars?
There is no specific way or amount of money that is allocated to every person that the name appears in this accusation.
What instead they did is to throw a bush of infamous extracts and told you to look at those infamous, identify where Rose is, where Miriam is, Kenneth is, Nefat, Edwin. Is that what they did? Just giving you an infamous extract?
Just an infamous extract, to do it by myself, extract maybe the amount of money for Miriam, for Rose, for Kenneth, for Nefat.
Is there any mention in A and B where the amount of 78 million is mentioned to have been, that you are able to respond specifically to what you are facing?
There is nowhere a figure of 78 million is being indicated in this, as for the Miriam, Rose, Gwantai, and the rest.
Apart again from the infamous extract?
It is only the infamous extract. Nothing else.
You have also seen the basis of their complaint. It is another complaint by Salesio Mutuma, who tables his own computation and files it with EACC. Is that correct?
Salesio Mutuma is an activist. He files a report to EACC, and the county assembly uses the same report that has been taken to the EACC by Salesio to accuse me of embezzlement of county funds. Nothing else apart from the report by Salesio Mutuma.
So then, even as you're making this response, Madam Governor, it is only out of abundance of caution that you supply the Senate with what you thought was necessary.
Yes.
Did you even have the guide to lead you to where you are supposed to get materials in support of any claim?
No.
None whatsoever?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, was there any audit query or report that was generated by a competent body touching on embezzlement of county funds?
No audit report, no other report apart from an infamous report by Salesio Mutuma, an activist, to EACC.
But you have also taken time to explain what you thought the complainants might have been looking for, isn't it?
Yes.
And you have created a schedule that appears in your response. Kindly look at that. Appearing from what page?
105.
105 of our response, the small booklet.
Yes.
So then, the computation you did there, is it conclusive, or is it based on what you understood to be the case from the county assembly? Because there were no particulars.
It is not conclusive.
It is not conclusive.
Yes.
The document again that you attached, was there any particular order to which you are preparing those documents, or you are basically looking at the IFMIS extract and giving what you thought was a suitable answer because there was no particular charge or request for you to look at any specific issue?
I tried my best to look at it so that I can give a feedback.
Thank you. So had you been properly guided by the motion, you would have done a better job in giving them very specific answers to specific queries?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us proceed to the other charge of nepotism. First of all, let me ask you about this gentleman called Nefat Kenya, who has been said to be a brother-in-law to you. Do you know Nefat Kenya?
No. He's an employee of county government of Meru.
He's an employee of county government of Meru. Is he married to your sister?
None of my sisters are married.
Your sisters are single. So then Nefat cannot be your brother-in-law.
No.
Edwin Mutuma, is he your nephew? Nephew rather to your husband?
No.
You know very well the relatives, or rather siblings to your husband?
I met him around 4-5 months ago.
That is Edwin?
That is Edwin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's not, again...
he's not a relative.
He's not a relative. Your husband, and now that I'm at it, has been accused of vilifying other leaders through a musical performance. There was a video that was played. For the sake of time, I will not ask for it to be played, but you are also present. I want you to look at the lyrics of that song. And even before you look at the lyrics, you were present.
Yes.
That song, to begin with, was sung in the Kiswahili dialect, true?
Yes.
So there was no need for it to be interpreted.
But Council, it's my prayer that we see the song so that I clear myself from that allegation.
Very well. Can we play? I could be guided where that clip is. It was a clip by... As we wait for the song, Madam Governor, we will watch it. But did your husband make reference to any elected leader?
He did not.
Did he make any reference to any other leader by name?
He did not.
What was the first gentleman saying in his song, to the best of your recollection?
That's
In
why
fact, we have got the Kiswahili. Just read a few. At page 251 of volume 2 of the County Assembly's document. Very quickly, Madam Governor, I urge you to read. We are pressed for time.
they want, is that one?
Yes, just read in Swahili.
They want Kawira to come and help them still. Kawira is against it, and when Kawira refuses, they dig.
I would love you to read the Kiswahili version. The song was sung in Kiswahili version. That is the translation. Kindly read the Kiswahili version. This is also a Swahili speaking.
Kila siku wanamtafutia makosa, wanataka Kawira awasaidie kuiba. Kawira akakataa, akasema yeye hataki wizi. Wakati alipokataa, wakasema, wakaanza kumshimbia mashimo. Wanataka Kawira akule pesa, nao wanataka Kawira wakule pesa za barabara. Wanataka Kawira akubali wakule pesa ya dawa hospitali. Wanataka Kawira awasaidie kukula mali yetu. Igembe na waeleze ukweli kabisa. Mpaka sasa, sikilizeni kwa makini. Wanapanga pia kuchukua maisha ya Kawira. Wanapanga sasa mpaka kumuua Kawira. Lakini najua maombi yenu, huyo shetani ameshindwa katika jina la Yesu. Ati walikuwa wanasema tangu ile wakati ya impeachment ya kwanza, Kawira hajawahi kunywa chai kwa mikahawa ya Nairobi. Mara ya mwisho Kawira kunywa chai mikahawa ya Nairobi ni ile wakati ya impeachment. Na hiyo sasa ndio inafanya maadui wake wakasirike kabisa. Eti wanamtaka Kawira kuliko akuje okolea awe akienda Nairobi kule wakunywe nao chai na meza na pesa zenu. Kawira naye amekataa katakata, akasema kazi yake ni mashinani. Wenye wivu wajinyonge. Wenye wivu wajinyonge.
Is there anything demeaning or targeting any leader in those lyrics?
No, nothing. No leader is being targeted or mentioned by name.
Is it true that you're facing a threat to your life, that the first gentleman in a musical performance passed that information?
It is.
Is there anything wrong in that? In your husband coming to your defense when your life is in danger?
He should come and defend the wife.
Thank you. You have been accused of particularly assigning diplomatic duties to your two sisters, unqualified sisters.
Yes.
You have made an explanation to that allegation. Can you point out where that response is?
It's in page 10.
As we peruse through, Mr. Speaker, sir,
2015.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I note that my time is up. I'm seeking your indulgence for just 30 more minutes for me to wind up.
You need an extra 30 minutes?
Yes, indeed. Most humbly, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I can proceed.
Thank you. Tell us the response you have offered to the allegation that you assigned your two sisters diplomatic duties.
I was invited, courtesy call to embassy in Nairobi, that is Slovakian. While on my way, I was diverted to attend a function at the State House. I can explain without reading.
Yes, kindly proceed.
On my way, I was accompanied by the County Secretary of Meru, my personal assistant, my bodyguard, and my driver. And then on the way, there was an urgent meeting. I decided to attend the meeting first so that I can join the other team later. The county secretary joined or went to the embassy. As I was finishing from the State House, they had already done with the meeting. So I did not assign my sister any duty. It is just because I had traveled with my personal assistant and also the bodyguard to attend the meeting.
Did you later offer an explanation as to who attended that meeting and what was discussed in your Facebook at page 94?
Yes.
You confirmed that the person that attended that meeting and presided and had discussions was the county secretary?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us go to the China trip that you have been accused of sending your sisters and relatives to a tour. You got an invitation from a company?
Yes, to China.
To China?
Yes.
Did that company represent itself as having affiliations with the Chinese government, to the best of your understanding?
Yes, in the first case, it associated itself with the national or the country of China.
The state of China?
Yes.
You had planned initially to attend that trip. Is that the position?
Yes, I am planned to attend.
But before that, tell us, how often do you travel outside the country as the governor of Meru? How many trips have you had outside the country from the date you were sworn in as the governor?
I've only traveled once.
To which country?
South Korea.
When was that?
Around 6 months ago.
What was the practice when you traveled? How do you travel? Do you travel with your team together? Do they travel in advance? What happened during your last trip to South Korea?
For this specific one, I sent my personal assistant, my bodyguard, and the team in advance. And then I met them there later.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did you send them in advance?
For preparations and also to know exactly what I'm supposed to do and arrange everything before I get there.
Okay. Was that the case with the China trip?
Yes, it was the case.
So who traveled to China and for what purpose did they travel?
Those who travel to China are 4 people. One is the Waziri for Health.
Yes.
And one is the external leakages acting director, my personal assistant, and my bodyguard.
Did you eventually travel to China?
No, I didn't.
You did not?
Yes.
Why didn't you travel to China?
When my advance team arrived to China, it was contrary to what the Chinese people and the brokers, the message that was given to our office was different, because the private company or the people that came to visit Meru associated themselves with the Chinese government, and upon arrival of my team there, it was contrary to what they said. It was just a private business company interested in investing in Meru.
So the assertion that this was an opportunity for a cancer center to be established in Meru by well-wishers through a private public partnership, is that the position?
Isn't the position. If at all it was a donor donating even a single item, I could be the first one to get there. But it was purely a business company interested in doing business in Meru.
You have read the affidavit of your CCM, George Gekunda.
Yes.
He explains clearly that they even discovered that the people who had invited you did not even have a physical office in China.
Yes, I've read it.
That they took them through various companies that manufacture items.
Yes.
Could not prove that they have any affiliation with any of those companies.
They did not have any.
Was it then safe for you to proceed to China with that information having been availed to you?
To me, it was a waste of time, even though the company was offering full sponsorship. But now, going to China just because of assisting some people to come and do business in Meru, it wasn't a priority to me.
Thank you. You have been questioned why the CEC or yourself did not seek any visa clearance to China. Do you have a Chinese visa?
Yes.
Yes, you do. So there was no need for you then, for the CS to ask for a visa to be provided. You already had one. Thank you. The governor, the deputy governor, has also accused you of arbitrarily relocating his office from next to your office to another block, changing the locks. Let me just read specifically. Number one, he is accusing you of arbitrary reduction, suspension, and withdrawal of budgetary facilitation. Were you in any way involved in reduction and withdrawal of his budgetary facilitation?
No, and I cannot do that. In our office, we have AIE Older, who used to be the chief of staff, and he does, via other officers, facilitation to our travels, facilitation to our offices, and it has been done according to the way I know things.
In fact, yesterday during cross-examination, it was discovered that one Nefat Kenya received a lot of facilitation on behalf of the deputy governor. Is Nefat Kenya an administrator in the office of the deputy governor?
Yes, it is the deputy governor himself that suggested that Nefat Kenya to be the administrator in his office.
Thank you. You have been accused of threatening the deputy governor to inflict bodily harm against the governor. And this is in reference to one of the WhatsApp group that you said, nitafinya kieleweke. You remember that WhatsApp group, WhatsApp post?
Yes.
What were you talking about when you said, nitafinya kieleweke? You are also accused, to combine with that, of mobilizing jeshi ya kumaliza deputy governor. What were you referring to when you said choma jeshi?
Specifically, council. I would like to see where exactly I have referred the kufinya kieleweke or the jeshi to my deputy governor.
So you deny making that particular
The allegation is that it's to the deputy governor.
Yes.
Where exactly have I referred to my deputy governor?
Thank you. Who then were you referring to, or what was the context?
I was referring to the kind of things going around in Meru County, the type of bullying that is going around. Of course, as a leader, you have to respond to some of the issues that goes around. Kufinya kieleweke, what's wrong with that?
Thank you. So you were not making any reference to
I was not making any reference
threatening
to any particular person.
You have also been accused of forcefully breaking, entering and ransacking
The criminal for the relevant authorities for doing such an act. I've never done that.
Thank you. Arbitrary relocation of the deputy governor's office. Is it true that there were reorganizational issues in the office of the governor that saw certain offices moved from one location to the other?
Yes, there was reorganization after we earned a big team of acting chief officers. In Meru, we have 2 blocks, the old block and the new one. And then the old block that has been used by the first governor, Kiraito Moronge, and partly by Honorable His Excellency Peter Menya. And that is where the deputy governor was reallocated to stay.
Thank you. Let us move on to the issue of accusing other leaders of being the 10 cartels in Meru in an event where the head of state was in attendance. Were you referring to the members of parliament? Because that is what was said yesterday.
Council, why would one suggest that I was referring to anyone when I've not mentioned one?
Who were you talking about when you said kuna makatel zaidi ya 10?
There's a certain story in Kimeru, maybe to take 1 minute to explain. One person thieves broke to his home, stole his own goat, and then there was a chief's meeting with everyone in that village. And that old man akaenda amebeba mkuki, akasema ya kwamba katikati yenu ninaona kuna mtu ambaye ameiba ile mbuzi yangu. Just in 1 minute I will kill that person. Hakujua ni nani. Mtu mmoja akachomoka tu mara moja akaenda. That's when now the man realized who the person was. In my case, when I talked about Makatel, I not mention anyone. I said this county will not be micromanaged by few cartels or 10 cartels and few rich people to assume that Meru is the way they want to paint it bad.
Thank you.
I did not mention anyone.
You did not mention anyone. That's
Yes.
quite important. There are these WhatsApp groups in Meru, County Admin Services, Third Government, 012. Are you the admin of these groups?
I'm not, I was added in that group.
You are added in that
Yes.
group. Is it an official WhatsApp group in Meru?
No, we don't have an official WhatsApp group in Meru County.
Did you at any moment incite or encourage any admin to remove the deputy governor from?
I don't know even the administrator I was just handed.
Thank you. Did you encourage anyone to demean or insult?
No.
You did not. Thank you. I'll not talk about, let me ask you this question, it's quite important. It's the issue of sending certain employees of the county on compulsory leave. You remember that issue?
Yes, I remember.
You remember that issue? Number one, are you the one who sent these people on compulsory leave?
I'm not the one.
Who did that?
The county secretary.
County secretary.
Yes.
Are you aware that they were sent on compulsory leave?
I was notified after the county secretary sent them on compulsory leave due to some allegations that were reported to EACC.
So you are not part of the decision to send these people on compulsory leave?
No.
But you made a comment on Facebook about that issue.
Yes.
You confirm that you have appointed certain people to take charge of the revenue board.
Again, the appointment was done same as the sending of the same or the people on compulsory leave. Mine was to show or for people to know that these people are no longer doing or acting on behalf of Meru County government, and these are the new team that is on board.
Later on, you were subject of court proceedings in a case where these people cited you as a respondent, and subsequently there were contempt of court orders issued. Why were you cited as a respondent in that matter?
By virtue of my office, not even that single matter, but almost in all matters, I'm among the third or the fourth or the seventh respondent by virtue of my office.
So does it point out to any personal responsibility, or it is normal and ordinary for parties to file cases against the office of the governor?
It is normal, especially when it touches the county government of Meru.
Indeed, Madam Governor, when you came to office, you continued defending cases that were filed against the office of the governor for actions that took place even before you got to office?
When I got to office, I met 800 and something cases in court.
Those cases were citing the governor as a respondent?
Yes.
Did they in any way communicate that you personally had a responsibility to the action that offended the person who went to court, or it is by virtue of the office?
In all those cases, there is nowhere where I was directly responsible.
Thank you. Lastly, we have an issue of appointment of the following person. But before I go there, let us talk about the traffic marshals in Meru. You have been accused of creating this office called the traffic marshals without following due process. Did you commit that offense?
I did not appoint anyone for the traffic marshals. That was a pilot project from the Department of Public Service. Just like any other governor or leader, you are mandated or you're supposed to launch a project. But I did not participate in employing any of the traffic marshals.
Did you later seek the approval of the County Public Service Board to create this office?
The county secretary did it.
And those discussions are ongoing?
The discussions are ongoing.
Thank you.
And one comes on a ask, who then were the drivers of the border? We have the enforcement team and some few others that were piloting or were used to pilot the project. So we've never employed any single person to do that duty.
Thank you. You have been told that you bear the ultimate responsibility even for actions of your CECs, county chief officers, directors, drivers, your chief of staff. What is your understanding of your role as a governor of Meru County?
Of course, to provide leadership counsel, and also, even though in some ways I might be involved where I'm directly giving a direction, maybe via memo, because a government has a way of communication. But in this case, or in all these allegations before me today, none of them that I have alluded my signature, neither given a memo for the accusations that are before me.
Thank you. The very last, we have seen a lot of, and I do not wish to go deep in it, but we have seen the county assembly trying to make a big deal of some payments that were done on one day to Rose, to other members of county government. Is it that these people are being paid for forged interest, or why is it that there is an indication of many payments done on one day? To the best of your understanding, though you may not have the technical.
In county government, Mr. Speaker and the honorable senators, we receive funds not in one bunch.
Yes.
At times, funds are delayed, and some functions have to continue, like traveling, like meetings, and in most cases, we do or they do using their own money, like traveling, and then when money gets in or lands to our accounts, then they are paid. The issue of paying 10 payments in a day might have been a delay of payments which has not been done for a month or two.
Thank you. When you travel, is money put in your account, or it is deposited in the account of your PA, or it's your PA who receives it?
Since I became a governor, none of a single or no single coin has ever been deposited to my account.
How do you travel? Who then receives that money for your facilitation?
The PA,
Thank you.
the administrators.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is all for this witness. I wish to hand her over for cross-examination. Thank you.
County Assembly, you may proceed to do your cross-examination. By way of indication, Counsel for the County Assembly, how much time do you need?
Mr. Speaker, if it finds favor with you, we request 2.5 hours.
You request?
2.5 hours. We only make this request, Mr. Speaker, based on the scope of the issues covered by the witness. They are not issues we can address in a short time. Our main witness, I think, was cross-examined for a similar amount of time. It's only fair for purposes of equality of arms.
Let's try 1.5, and then we'll gauge it from there.
The Honorable Governor Mwangaza, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Council.
Would you agree that the cultural structure and values and attitudes of the Mount Kenya community are substantially similar, even though there may be small details of variation?
No.
So it is your case, the culture of the Meru, AJAABU, and the Gikuyu are vastly different.
Yes.
Are their languages also vastly different, or are they substantially mutually intelligible?
Different.
Are they mutually intelligible?
No.
I put it to you, Kawira, that anyone who lives in this country actually knows there isn't much difference in the cultures, values, and attitudes of those three communities. What do you say to that?
There's difference because, for example, in Meru we have Jorincheke. Do the Kikuyus have Jorincheke?
They have Kiama, and I'm sure you know even the Jorincheke is also called Kiama. It's just a difference of names. Anyway, Governor Kawira Mwangaza is the governor of Embu a man or a woman?
A woman.
To the best of your knowledge, is this woman governor being hounded out by some misogynistic male leadership?
Unless she's here to testify, I cannot testify.
To the best of your knowledge, has the woman governor of Embu been impeached 3 times? Has she faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
I know of one Anne Waiguru who was impeached twice.
Let's stick to Embu for now. Has the governor of Embu faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
No.
Nakuru equally as a woman governor, right?
Yes.
It has a huge population of Mount Kenya diaspora. True or untrue?
True.
As that woman governor in Nakuru faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
No.
Kwale as a woman governor, true or false?
True.
The people of Kwale are Bantus, just like the people of Mount Kenya, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Has that woman governor faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
No.
Homa Bay, which is a different cultural area, as a woman governor, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Has she faced any impeachment motion in the last 1 year?
No.
As a matter of fact, Meru itself, as an elected woman MCA, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, has that woman MCA in Meru encountered any backlash from a toxic masculinity to hound her out of office?
Several times.
Have you adduced that evidence anywhere in your response?
No, because it was not part and parcel of my response.
Meru as a woman representative, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
In fact, you yourself were a woman representative of Meru for a whole 5 years.
Yes.
Did anyone try to recall you because you are a woman?
No.
Good. Let's go to, you just told Mr. Speaker, it's more common story in Meru. Tell me whether you know of this story, which is also very common in Meru, of a woman who would beat her husband, then scream, and because the society is socialized to think it is the man beating the woman, and she has locked the house, people think it is the man who was beating the woman, while the truth was the other way around. Have you ever heard of that story?
No.
Of course, you've never heard of it, because it's not convenient. Let's agree, Governor Kawira, for argument's sake, without conceding, let's agree the MCAs are indeed acting under the influence of external people. Would that mean your sisters never received the monies we allege?
Pardon?
If we temporarily agree for argument's sake that the reason the MCAs have impeached you all these times is because of toxic masculinity and evil motives and malice and whatnot, we want, for argument's sake, in my next series of questions, to work on the assumption that that is true. If the MCAs are malicious, would that be an answer to why your sisters were receiving monies irregularly from the county?
No.
If the MCAs are intimidated or influenced, would that be an answer to the count on usurpation of statutory functions of the County Public Service Board?
No.
Indeed, Governor Kawira, the motivations of the MCAs, you will agree, are therefore irrelevant as long as there is evidence in support of the charge.
There is no support in the charge.
That's for the Senate to decide, but assuming there is evidence in support of the charge, is it your position the charge would fail because even though there is evidence, the MCAs are driven by an ulterior motive? Is that what you're inviting the Senate to do? Assuming the Senate believes you're an innocent victim of evil machinations, does that undo the evidence against you on the charges?
The charges should have evidence.
If they have the evidence, my question is, would evil intentions on the part of the MCAs undo that evidence? Would the evidence cease to exist because the MCAs are acting maliciously?
No.
The answer is?
No.
No. So you will agree with me, therefore, the case against you should be decided on the evidence, not on the motivations of the MCAs.
Yes, on the evidence.
Thank you very much. That's a very useful answer. Let's go to the complaint by Celestia. Mr. Speaker, that would be from page 1 of volume 2. You just told the Senate that the reason you did not account for the entire 78 million is because the motion only related to your sisters. Is that still your position?
Yes.
Did you read volume 2 as you read the impeachment motion?
Where is the volume?
Did you read the bundle that contains the Assembly's evidence?
The evidence is the influence extract by Celestia.
Correct.
Yes.
In fact, the impeachment motion says the evidence is in the complaint by Celestia. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
It would mean, therefore, the impeachment motion must be read together with the complaint by Celestia. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Can you refer to paragraph 11 of the motion? (11A), can you read it to the Senate?
Yes, I can read.
Read it for us.
87 of 68. Evidence of the governor engagement, convenience, and complicity in the proceeding. 2, gross violation of the Constitution. 3, 2, gross misconduct. 3, gross abuse of office to be found in, accompanied by Duranira Salesio Mutuma to Ethics and Corruption Commission on 11th August 2023.
So you agree you are given sufficient notice that the Assembly will be relying on the complaint by Celestia in the motion itself. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Fair enough.
incorrect.
We said it's okay, we can live with your answer. But let's go to the complaint by Celestio. Can you go to page 4, volume 2? What does it say? At 2.5?
For volume.
It refers to Kawira, Rukaria, Catherine, isn't it?
Yes.
It is therefore correct that you had prior notice. There is a complaint by Celestio regarding payments to this particular person.
Kawira, Rukaria.
Did you or did you not receive this page 4, volume 2, Governor Kawira? Either you did or you did not receive it.
I want to see the charge first because the charge talks about embezzlement of funds by relatives.
Yes, we moved from the charge to the evidence where you were already referred to the complaint by Celestio. The complaint has to be read in its entirety.
The author of the IFMIS report, Celestio, in the IFMIS report, we have more than 100 persons who have received funds.
And all these 100 persons are persons working in your office, correct or incorrect?
And these 100 persons are not mentioned in the impeachment.
Fair enough, Governor. Do these 100 persons work in your office? Either they do or they don't.
I'm not aware of everyone who works in my office.
Good. But does page 17 indicate these are transactions by persons who work in your office? At the top of page 17, does it show that these are transactions by persons who work in the office?
Currently, county government of Meru, we have 6,000 employees, and I cannot know every person by name.
Governor, unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of ducking my questions. My question is, does this IFMIS indicate in black and white that these are transactions by persons working in your office?
I don't.
Either it does or it doesn't.
I don't think so.
Can you read the top, the very first item on that page 17?
Yes.
Read it to the Senate.
Vote. These are small ones, I can't see.
I don't mind if your assistant can read for you.
Okay.
She can read for you.
Vote 3562, Meru, Office of the Governor.
You will agree, Madam Governor, the document itself indicates it's about transactions in your office, not another office.
In my office, from July 2022, when I was not the governor of Meru.
Yes, and while you were seated here, we pointed out only 12 transactions lie in the previous regime. All the others have happened when you were the governor, correct or incorrect?
And that's why, Council, you want me to know everyone who, including those who worked in the previous regime, from this document?
You won't get away from this, Madam Governor, by being clever. Can you see page 17? You confirm the transactions begin on 1st July,
yes,
when Kiraitu was the governor,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And it follows like that, 1st July, and when July ends, the next entries are for 20th September 2022. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct. You are the governor as at September 2022.
Yes.
It must therefore follow that for all these hundreds of transactions, all of them except the first 12 happened during your tenure as governor of Meru?
Yes.
Good. Let's go back to the complaint by Celestio. At page 4, Celestio talks of withdrawals by Kadhure Rukaria Catherine. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And he has analyzed them, and most of them are indicated the payment description is not applicable. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
In your understanding of government accounting and PFM, should public money be expended and the accounting description is not applicable?
Council, I'm not an accountant.
You are the governor, unfortunately, so answer my question.
As the governor of Meru, the way I understand is that after this IFMIS report, if it's a genuine one, of which I doubt, follows an audited report. Before me, if it was an audited report which clears or rectifies any mess that is in IFMIS report, then it could be a question that I could be easily able to answer.
Does the county government have access to IFMIS?
Yes.
In fact, your junior officials have credentials to IFMIS.
Yes.
Therefore, they could easily have just logged in and printed the correct IFMIS if your case is you doubt the authenticity of this one. Correct or incorrect?
I repeat again that IFMIS extract is not the final document.
That's not my question, Madam Governor. The question is, would your CEC finance, would your chief officer finance, would your own chief of staff, who is the accounting officer in your office, do all these people have login credentials to IFMIS?
They have.
Good. And therefore, when the assembly asked you to present the IFMIS extract, all your officials needed was to log in, print, submit. Correct or incorrect?
There was a reply by the...
There is a reply. Answer my question. All they needed to do, if there was any reason to doubt the authenticity of this IFMIS, was to log in and print.
Council, do the assembly rely on IFMIS?
Madam Speaker, I ask that the witness answers my question. I don't want to have an altercation with her. I need your protection, Madam Speaker.
Madam Governor, just answer the question, please.
They have the right to print the...
Yes, and therefore you will acknowledge all they needed to put this matter to rest if there was no embezzlement was to log in and print. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
But instead of doing that very simple task, your CEC and your officials, what they did is to manually type their own figures instead of those on the system. Page 105 of your response. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Are you saying the document at page 105 of your response is a system-generated report?
This is generated from my office or from the Salesio?
It is from your office. It is in your response, Madam Governor.
In my response, we are dealing with the IFMIS report by Salesio, the activist, or a report from my office.
If I unpack your own defense for you to answer the question, I don't know, Madam Speaker, who is answering questions. In your defense, you actually rely on the report by Celestio, and in addition, you have brought something you have manually typed which is a parallel document, not the one from IFMIS.
Counsel, you're insisting that she has typed and she's saying they did not. Can you re-ask the question so that she can answer that?
On its face, the document in your defense, is it generated from IFMIS or is it manually typed? Because that should be clear from the face of the document.
This is the summary of IFMIS payment.
It is not an extract from IFMIS, is it or is it not?
It is an extract of the IFMIS.
Does it have a timestamp?
Time what?
And if timestamp?
Yes.
Where is the timestamp? Show it to us.
It has the voucher number, the payee.
I'm not talking about voucher numbers. I'm talking about a timestamp. System-generated report from IFMIS indicate when they were printed, when they were downloaded. They leave a footprint. Who keyed them and when? You will agree, Madam Governor, so that we save time, your document is not system-generated. And that's why I said you typed it. If you refuse to answer the question, I'll proceed and invite the Senate to make whatever conclusions it wants to conclude from that refusal.
Counsel, you can put it to her and proceed.
There?
You can put it to her and proceed.
Madam Governor, I'm putting it to you that you're refusing to answer this question.
I'm not refusing to answer any question.
I put it to you, you're dodging my questions.
Which one particularly?
Whether the report at page 105 of your defense is a system-generated document or a document typed on a desk by someone.
It's a system of a summary of IFMIS payment.
We'll leave it to the Senate to see who to believe on that so that we don't spend all the time on one issue. At page 10 of our volume 2, how much money does Celestio say Catherine Rukaria irregularly withdrew from the vote for the office of the governor? 29, there is a total there. It is how much? Can you read it for the Senate?
Grant total payment made by Catherine Rukaria, 29,018,714.
How much does he give as the total that was withdrawn from your office during this period covered by the IFMIS?
Grant total paid to the county government of Meru.
Yes.
That is 188 million. That is the grant total paid to the county government.
Read the exact figure. What is the exact figure?
88,609,373.
And he says the amount withdrawn by just one Catherine Rukaria is what percentage of the total? It is indicated there in black and white?
15%.
15%.
Yes.
Let's go to lead and gather, same page 10. Again, Celestio has outlined many payments where the description is not applicable. Correct or incorrect on the face of it?
Correct.
Let's go to page 12 that involves your sister. Celestio has again listed all the specific payments to your sister. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And again, most of them, the item description is not applicable. And on the IFMIS, the description is prepayment. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And what is the total amount, this sister of yours?
2,769,000.
Is this amount smaller or bigger than the total amount for the interest you have submitted to the Senate? this amount here of 2,769,000, is it smaller or bigger than the amount you have accounted for?
Let me see the booklet that I have accounted for.
You have only accounted for 2.6 million, Madam Governor, for all the relatives, and yet for just one of them, the amount irregularly disbursed is 2.7 million. I'm putting it to you that the sum of the amount of money you have accounted for all your relatives is actually smaller than the amount paid to just one of them, as per this document.
And as per this document, which is an Impeached report, the audited report clears any error that is in this report. We have cases in this same report that you are referring to, some of the payments named as hospitality payment, which are hospital surprise rather than hospitality payments. We will rectify the mess which is still in our evidence booklet named as hospital surprise rather than hospitality surprise.
Governor Kawira, who is responsible for inputting transactions on IFMIs at Meru County?
PFM Act Section 103 gives the responsible person to correct the measures. It establishes the CEC finance is the end and it makes all decisions. And the Public Audit Act 31 spells out the audit process for documents to be tabled before Parliament and Assembly.
So you will agree with me?
So this Impeached report must go through the audit for us to get a final copy that can be read by this honorable House.
Except that's not the question I asked you, and I agree with you. But you agree the answer to my question is that it is your officials who enter the data in these IFMIs.
Who is right now? Is it our officials or the activists?
Answer my question. Madam Speaker, please.
Answer, what is your question?
My question is whether it is county officials in Meru who keyed in the data on IFMIs.
Governor?
Yes, it is the county officials for our case.
And therefore you will agree with me, if there is any misrepresentation of hospital as hospitality in IFMIs, the person that should take responsibility for that is your own officials, correct or incorrect?
Correct, and that's why we have another process.
I have received my answer,
audit.
Madam Governor. You have said it's correct. You have given an explanation that the reason your officials and relatives receive all these payments is by way of interest. That's why on IFMIs it is captured as prepayment, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you aware an interest is to be surrendered within 7 days?
Prepayment cancel is money requested for activities not done, and after the activities have been done, the accounting person accounts for every coin before receiving any other money.
Again, you're dodging my question.
Repeat
the question is, isn't an interest supposed to be surrendered and accounted for within 7 days?
Surrender of interest are surrendered within specific days?
My question is very easy. By law, should an imprest be surrendered within 7 days? It's either yes or no. Should an imprest be surrendered and accounted for within 7 days? What's your answer, Madam Governor?
I'm not sure if it's within 7 days.
Fair enough. You will also agree with me, this report covers an entire year, financial year, July to the date, the last date there. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And therefore, if payments made in September last year by way of interest still appear as prepayment, the only conclusion that arises is that those interests were never surrendered and accounted for. It is the only accounting conclusion that ensues, Madam Governor. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect. And the reason is that you cannot receive funds from the Treasury before surrendering everything that you received earlier on.
As a matter of fact, Madam Governor, so that I show you you're a liar, can an officer be given an imprest without accompanying hard cash?
Repeat again.
Is an imprest given is an imprest when an officer takes an imprest? Aren't they given cash? Isn't that why it is indicated as a prepayment? Because they have been given cash to expend and later account.
It depends whether
it is yes or no, Madam Governor. Can one be given an imprest without a cash disbursement to them? Would you call that an imprest?
It is a prepayment.
Madam Governor, I put it to you. You can't have it both ways. It is your case that the reason these items appear as imprest on IFMIs is because they were by way of imprest. Isn't that your defense, Madam Governor?
Can you ask clearer? What is it? What question do you want her to answer?
The question, Madam Governor, which I'm putting to you, is that your answer that officers take imprest and then later on, when money is disbursed from Treasury, they are paid. That is why they are paid several, they appears.
What is the question? Are you putting it to her or you asking?
I'm putting it to her, Madam Speaker, that your answer cannot hold, which you gave in chief, that the reason your relatives have several payments on the same day is because money is paid after the event and after there has been an accumulation. That cannot be correct because an imprest is always supported by hard cash. So it is given on cash basis. So the question of waiting for money does not hold, Madam Governor.
These are prepayments and these are money requested for activities not paid before. And when money arrives to the county government, they are paid. For example, if I'm traveling today from here to a certain destination, we will use our own resources and later surrender the documents for the person concerned to receive the payment.
Let's use your own example, Madam Governor, pause it there. If you travel today on your own money, which will be refunded later, would you be given an imprest for spending your own money?
You will be paid for spending
That's
your
not
own money.
my question, Madam Governor. You are going on a trip and we all agree it happens every day. On your own money to be refunded later. Are you given an imprest on that occasion when you're traveling on your own pocket to claim later?
You will be given interest if there are some goods you are required to buy on cash. And the amount of money that the council we are discussing is the office of the governor, where there are no projects apart from the usage of money by way of travelers and other things like purchase of items in the office of the governor. No projects is done in the office of the governor. How else do you expect the office of the governor to work or to receive money if not by this form?
I did ask you any question,
formula?
Madam Governor, about projects. We are talking.
Councillor, can you wrap up on that question? And can you? I think the Senate might be able to appreciate the issue of interests. I request that you move to the next question.
Madam Speaker, my name is Meru, and I have a few questions for the Governor. Madam Governor, we were told by your witness, the CEC for Legal and Public Service Management, that the originals of the surrender documents are with the auditors. Is that your position?
Yes.
And he told us that the originals that are with the auditors are signed. Is that your position?
Yes.
So if the originals are with the auditors and they are signed, where did you get these surrender documents that are not signed?
Council, what happens after you surrender the interest? When you surrender the surrender of the interest, you have a voucher that is in your documents attached to your files, signed, verified, and examined by an examiner. I think those are the documents you have. Are they examined and verified?
No, the documents we have are not examined or signed by the Director of Accounts or by the Chief Officer of Finance. And if your testimony or your evidence is that the originals are signed and they are with the auditors, where did you get these copies that are not signed? Can you have two documents? One which is signed, the original, and another document that is not signed with respect to the same transaction?
Of course, every person has to keep a record of what maybe you might be asked to give and give it out.
So you would agree with me then that the documents you provided here are not a proper record or representation of the documents that are with the auditors?
And that's why we
have... No, it's a yes, no question. Would you agree with me then that the documents that you've provided here, because they are not signed, and the ones that are with the auditors, the originals, are signed, then these documents, obviously, are not a proper representation or copies of the documents you submitted to the auditors?
They are the same documents submitted to the auditors.
Madam Speaker, I think at this point I'll invite the Assembly to make the necessary conclusion. Governor, you can turn with me to page 295 of our volume 2. And my first question, Governor, is whose responsibility is it by law to appoint chief officers? Is it your responsibility to appoint chief officers?
No.
By law, whose responsibility is it to appoint chief officers?
Public Service Board.
Governor, maybe I can clarify there that the position of the law, if you check section 45 of the County Governments Act, is that the governor appoints chief officers on recommendation of the County Public Service Board.
Yes.
The County Public Service Board advertises.
Yes.
They shortlist.
Yes.
They interview.
Yes.
Then they submit names. And in fact, in your case, they submitted 3 names
for every department
Yes.
to the governor for formal appointment.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So who does the actual appointment? The governor.
Yes.
So the document on page 295, now that you agree that it is the governor who formally appoints chief officers as by law, you will then you will agree with me, Governor, that the document at page 295 emanates from your office. It is signed by the county secretary for Her Excellency the Governor, and it communicates your decision as governor to appoint certain individuals as chief officers, some in acting capacity, some in substantive positions, correct?
Council, I would like you to...
It's a yes/no question, Governor, so that we move.
There's no.
So you have not appointed these persons?
I've not appointed.
Okay. I'll refer you then to number 1, Naomi Kamunde, that is appearing. Can you read aloud what the document says at number 1?
I want to read from slightly above number 1.
Okay, you can start there then.
Redeployment.
Okay. Redeployment, go ahead. Or maybe assistant can
In
read for you.
order to improve on efficiency and effectiveness in the service delivery, the following changes have been agreed upon.
Okay.
Naomi Kamunde to move from Office of the Governor, Directorate of Protocol, to perform functions of Chief Officer, Office of the Governor, awaiting substantive Chief Officer.
Okay.
Yes.
So, by this letter, Naomi Kamunde is to move from the Office of the Governor, correct?
Yes.
And perform the functions of Chief Officer, awaiting a substantive Chief Officer, correct?
Yes.
And we've agreed that the power to appoint Chief Officers resides in you as a Governor.
Is that appointment?
No, we have agreed that the power to appoint resides in you as a Governor, correct?
Yes.
Is it your position that in appointing chief officers in acting capacity, the governor need not consult the County Public Service Board?
In this case...
No, it's a yes/no question, Governor. Is it your position that in appointing chief officers in acting capacity, the governor need not consult the County Public Service Board? Is that your evidence?
Who has signed this document?
It is signed. Answer my question, Madam Speaker. I think at this point I'll seek your protection. May the witness answer the question.
Madam Governor, just answer the question, sir.
It's a yes?
Repeat again.
Is it your evidence that in appointing chief officers, in whatever capacity, whether substantive or acting, the governor need not consult the County Public Service Board? Is that your evidence?
When appointing a new chief officer.
When appointing a new chief officer. So I take it that it is your evidence that when appointing a chief officer in acting capacity, the governor need not consult the County Public Service Board. That is your evidence.
The county secretary also has the powers.
By what? By which law? By which law? Show me the law. I am willing to be persuaded, Madam Governor. Show me the law. What allows the county secretary to appoint chief officers
Not
in
to
whatever
appoint,
capacity?
but to redeploy.
Governor, the question is not on redeployment. The question is on appointment. The question is on appointment. And turn with me to page 335. What document is on page 335?